Welcome back, my YouTube peeps. It's your girl Britt-Rashaun. I am back with another book review. Happy Thursday. So how's your Thursday going? Okay. Well, my Thursday is going pretty good, if I must say so myself. Today I bring to you Say Her Name by Dreda Mitchell and I believe Ryan Carter. So I do believe that they co-wrote this book. I said I was gonna stop saying in this video, and I've already said it twice. I said that I did not want to just do like 4-star books and 5-star books, and I also want to give my opinion on books that were not the best of the best, but was still pretty good. It was still a pretty good read, right? I give Say Her Name a 2.5 out of 5. It was a good read. It was kind of predictable for me. There were some discrepancies in the book, but it was a good read. So, again, you know how we do this. We are going to read the summary of the summary of the book, and then we're going to come back and talk about it a little bit. It's 20 years since Eva, a biracial woman, was adopted as an 8-year-old, and Cherry and Carlton Sugar McNeil have always been the only parents she's wanted or needed. But when she's dealt the double blow of Cherry's death and her own suspension from work, Eva decides it's time to discover who she was before she was theirs. Against Sugar's advice, Eva joins a DNA database, desperate for a match that will unlock her identity. And when a positive hit comes, she's excited to learn that there are relations out there who might hold the key. But the closer Eva gets to uncovering her past, the more it appears someone is trying to stop her from finally finding the truth. As she continues to dig, Eva is drawn into a dark and merciless underside to society where Black women disappear without a word. Names erased from history, no search parties, no desperate pleas for their return. Once someone tries to save Eva from all this, someone wanted a better life for her. But now that she's torn down the facade of her life, has she come too far to be spared again? So let's focus on the main character right now. This woman is a whole ass doctor. There was no reason to even mention she was a doctor in the book. They did not touch on her being a doctor much. Like, they mentioned it, but like, what about it? They didn't play into her being a doctor. There was no storyline about it besides it being mentioned once with the incident at the hospital in a whole book. She could have been anything in the world, but she was a doctor, and that didn't make any sense to me. But this is a whole grown, educated, biracial woman who was kind of immature, a little ignorant, a little naive, just not very good. She's immature emotionally, and it's hard for me to put being a doctor with being immature and naive and lacking that emotional stability. Like, it's just it did not match to me. Like, she could have been anything. Why wasn't she like a bank teller or something? Like, it would have been more believable if she had a regular office job, but making her so stupid and naive and a doctor, what? And I know the book wanted to focus more on Miss Eva, but let me tell y'all something. Come here. Y'all, Miss Eva had a whole ass husband, and halfway through the book, he was mentioned like in the beginning, and then you're going like chapters and chapters and chapters of no husband, but his role was very minute in this book, very minute. And then he showed up at the end, and I was like, oh, she is married. That's right. Listen, there is no reason why I forgot this woman had a husband. All I knew was that I didn't really care for him from the beginning. He was a little, I didn't really care for him with the little bit I read of him in the beginning. So I don't mind the fact that his role was not touched upon more, but she has a spouse. We should know a little bit about him. Like, even though he's a minor character, we should know more about him. I should not forget towards the end of the book that this woman is married. Now, let me say this. The plot was intriguing. The plot was very interesting, but the delivery was underwhelming for this book. The biological father storyline confused me. This is a rich and well-connected, wealthy man. Why did it take so much for him to find you? Why did it take so much? What about your mother? What was the issue with finding your mother? Why he would giving away too much of the plot? It just didn't. I try to play books, and I think that's the problem, as real life type of situations, and I know that wouldn't be real life. You know, I can't see a wealthy man just struggling to find his child or struggling to find her mother. You can do whatever you want to do when you have money. What killed me was when little Miss Eva let these strangers into her life. You let a stranger cause doubt about people you know and trust already. You didn't have any real issues with the people that you knew and loved, your loved ones, but you let a stranger come in and cause doubt. That's what that naiveness comes from, okay? Because you don't know these people. You just met them. Talk so good. Listen, I don't care how good somebody talks. I don't care the issues that me and my loved ones are having. You're not going to talk down on my loved ones. You're not going to make me doubt my loved ones who have given me no real reason to doubt them. But in all seriousness, like a lot of books that I've read, it does make valid points about media coverage for women of color versus, our white counterparts. It does touch on that. That's like a theme of the book. And that alone, I said I'm going to finish this book. I don't really care about any other issue I have with the book. That alone, I knew I was going to continue reading this book because there is, again, a teaching in the book. The delivery, again, was a little underwhelming, but I liked the theme and the focus point of the book. I liked what the book stood for, so I continued to read it. Now, back on to the story. This woman had more mood swings than our current weather. Okay? She went from overly trusting to suspicious, to overly trusting, back to suspicious, to I believe what my loved ones say, to I don't trust anything these people say, to I'm completely putting all my trust into these strangers that I just met, to being suspicious of them. It was kind of all over the place a little bit. I did not like how that was structured. I felt like that could have been done differently. I'm going to say something, and for the people who have read this book, they're going to know what I'm talking about. You may have a different opinion than me. I don't know. But the whole Ronnie and Sugar situation, it went on too long. It went on too long. You can only make something suspenseful for so long before it's just like, God, this is played out. This is played out. It dragged on way too long. It could have been wrapped up. But because it was so suspenseful for so long, I already knew the storyline. So the reveal at the end was not a reveal because I got it midway through the book. Like, it could have been touched on and then something else could have been played on, right? Her being a doctor could have been played on a little bit more. Her and her spouse could have been played upon a little bit more. But because that Ronnie and Sugar situation was just Jesus through the entire book, there was no build of anything. It was like the book, and it was very slow in the beginning. It was so slow. I stopped reading this book because the beginning was so slow for me. And I don't really mind too much slow books, but the first 6-7 chapters, I put the book down. I shelved it. And I picked it back up. I was bored one day. I said, let me finish reading it. I'm not a quitter. I don't like to stop reading books. I'm going to, push through. And I'm glad I pushed through. It did start to pick up. That little Ronnie and Sugar situation was very, very interesting. It was the most interesting thing in the book to me. But it was like flat. And then it was flat, right? And it stayed flat. So then it picked up with the Ronnie and Sugar situation. So so it went from here up, and then it went up a little bit, and then up a little bit, and then it stayed right here. But then when the reveal happened at the end, it plummeted because it happened for so long. If the book would have ended between 50 or a few more pages before the end, I would have been like, because, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. But I figured the plot out halfway through the book. There is this scene in the book, y'all. It had me in stitches. And I specifically remember a butter knife, an attack with a butter knife somewhere up in there. And when I read it, it had me in stitches, you guys. It was funny to me. Okay, I may have had one too many to drink, but we attacking people with butter knives? Did it hurt? We didn't have no butcher knives, nothing. We attacking. That's all you could find was the butter knife. This book the genre it shows as a thriller. There is nothing thriller about this book. Maybe mystery, maybe a little drama. Nothing about this book is a thriller. I will say that something in the book that could have made this more of a thriller, and when I read about it, it was so interesting, and I prayed that they were going to go more in detail with it, was the medical experiments. There is a situation in the book about medical experiments. If they would have played on that a little more, went a little more in detail with it, made it a bigger storyline in the book, this book could have easily went from 2.5 to about a 4. They could have made it more of a thriller. It could have made it more suspenseful, gave us a little bit more of a scare. But they did not touch on the things in the book that were interesting to me. And this is just my opinion. I know a lot of people who really liked the book. It was an interesting read. It was an okay read. But the things that I particularly liked in the book, they did not go much into detail. The medical experiments, I really liked. Her being a doctor, I wish they could have went a little more in detail with that. It would have been interesting. They did not go into detail with that. Her situations with being, growing up, the biracial child, you could have touched even a hint more on that. But that Ronnie and Sugar situation was very much so played out. I was dreadfully tired of that. Her mother could have touched a little bit more on that. Even Mama Cherry, we could have touched a little bit more on that. I don't know if these things were done to prolong the length of the book, But a lot of things in the book, it could have been done with taking 60 or so pages out of the book. 2.5 for me. You guys, again, let me know which book you want me to do next, or I will choose the next book. Either way it go, I will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you for tuning into my channel. And if you like me, subscribe. No, but seriously, if you like my content, subscribe, like the video so I can know that I'm doing a good job. And like I said, I will see you guys Thursday with the next book review. Bye.